Hi, my beautiful followers. I hope everyone is starting their hump day on a positive note. So I have been busy this morning in some beautiful ways. I got up this morning and I started writing an article, and I sat there before starting this article, and it's the same, I named it the same thing that I've named this video, but I sat here in my hammock before I got to I was off to do a couple things, and I went, do I want to write this? Do I want to write this? Like, this seems a little touchy. This article feels a little touchy. But I sat there thinking about some clients I've been working with lately, and some of them having trauma, these women, and they have trauma, and so their clits, their sex is really shut down. And then I started thinking about our society right now and how these traumatized women's, their clits, are really mirroring our current society. And I sat there and I was like, this is a little sensitive. And in truth, I sat there going, I'm a white woman. I'm a white woman who is healthy, in her 30s, and do I want to step here? Do I want to step here? And then I went, yes, because this is my channel and I unleash, and I do have an opinion on these things. But it is a sensitive topic. Right now, we are all oversensitized. Every single one of us has been impacted by the events happening right now, whether that be the current political situation, whether that be COVID, or the current racial situation that we have going on, the protesting, the fight for for race, the fight of race. And I sat here going, do I want to do this? And I do. But I started thinking about my traumatized women that I work with every single day, that they come to me and they're like, Addison, it hurts when my man touches my clit, because I've been traumatized again and again, and I've been touched in all these negative ways, and I can totally relate to that. I've had my fair share of trauma, had my fair share of rape, abuse, moments where my sex was really shut down, moments where it hurt to touch into my sex. And usually if these women, I will have them work with their partners, and when they begin to work with their partners, de-thawing their clit, de-thawing their sex, usually they're like, ow, stop, and they start to do this protection business, like my little dance there. They start to do this protection business where they are oversensitized. It hurts, so they stop, they snap, they cry, they shut down, they go into trauma. And we are seeing this happen again and again in our current society, where we are so traumatized, a lot of us, that we can't sit at a table and have a conversation. We are oversensitive, so we don't listen. We're not stopping and listening to what somebody truly has to say on both sides of the fence, politically, racially. We don't want to actually hear that other person's opinion, because we're like a traumatized clit. We want to jump, we want to protect, which is what happens in trauma, And so we're so traumatized, we don't want to even acknowledge, yes, I'm in trauma here. We don't want to acknowledge, like, I'm in a state of sensitivity. Because when we even just acknowledge that state of sensitivity, what happens is then we enter a conversation, we enter social media, we enter things with more compassion for ourselves and also for that other person, knowing that we have to actually listen, knowing that we might be jumping. And so we might have to hit the pause button to go, okay, what is this person really saying? Is this person on my side? Is this person fighting for the same thing I want to fight for? So recently I've been watching, and again, I haven't done a whole lot on the racism stuff, even though I have some some really strong opinions on it based on my growing up and people in my life. I have some very strong opinions on it. Same thing with the COVID and the politics that I see going on. And I'm watching, and particularly with the racism, I've watched some of my female white friends make comments like, I support you, like Black lives do matter. And I've watched them get torn apart on social media just for going, I love you, I support you. I support you, you do matter. You do matter. This fight is important. And them actually get torn apart. I've watched my Black friends get torn apart for going, it's not okay to just break into a random store that you don't know the owner and start stealing their shit. And they got torn apart because going, well, you don't care about your race, you're not standing up for yourself. What is happening is that we're not actually listening to each other. We are so traumatized, we're so sensitive that we are snapping at people that do have the good intentions. If we're not actually explaining our perspective. We're waiting with our response for that other person's perspective. We're not actually leaning in and going, what are they trying to say? Where can we connect here? Where can we teach each other here? Where can we support each other here? Because I promise you there's so much support out there, but we are shutting things down. Even with just the COVID situation, there are some very, very strong viewpoints of what we should be doing with quarantine, and should we be quarantining, shouldn't we be quarantining, conspiracy theories, people who are like, no, this is a serious thing and it's real, and everybody is all over the place. And all you have to do is mention COVID and somebody will snap and have a strong reaction, instead of listening to maybe a different perspective outside of our own. This is where change happens. This is where growth happens. Get angry. I'm like, yes, if you're traumatized, we are all traumatized right now, but some are more traumatized than others in this moment. So if you want to protest, if you want to get angry, if you want to go, no, I'm not leaving my house because of quarantine, if you want to have your anger, that's okay. It's not saying don't get angry. It's not saying don't have your opinion. It's saying recognize I'm traumatized, I'm sensitive on this topic. Maybe right now is not the time. I need to sit at the table with somebody else and have this conversation. But I tell you that until we're ready to sit at the table and have a conversation, change won't happen. You can protest, you can have these big moments of anger and change. And I posted something yesterday about how the protests actually are making a difference. But at some point we have to talk. At some point we have to start to understand each other. And that doesn't happen when we are jumping on others. That happens when we go, I'm going to pause. I'm going to hold this. I can have all these feelings and all these stirrings, and I can still pause. I can still listen to what this other person has to say. I can still not judge this other person if I don't know them. If I don't know them, I don't know their experience. It's out of the blue. If this other person, I don't know anything about them, I can still sit and listen to them and go, what is their perspective? What is their perspective? Maybe I can learn something here. Maybe I'm not going to change my opinion, and that's okay. But maybe I can at least get another viewpoint. Maybe I can hit the pause button. Maybe I can have compassion for this other person. It's not that we all have it. The trauma is there, so we just need to own it. But we also need to own it and go into conversations and situations and social media with an understanding that we're all really sensitive right now. And that doesn't mean that we can't have hard conversations, because it's going to be uncomfortable, just like the women that are de-thawing their clitorises, that go from pain to numb to shut down to pleasure. We all want to get to that pleasure point. We all want to hit that pleasure point where it feels good, But that means we have to go through the discomfort. But we have to go through that discomfort with compassion and empathy and listening and paying attention. Because I would never tell in my sex coaching, I would never tell a partner of a woman, well, just go in there and like get in there and like don't listen to her. No. But I also tell the women, you're going to have to go through the discomfort. You're going to have to communicate. You might have to feel some not good feelings right now. Like it might be a little painful. And you're going to have to recognize that you're going to have these split reactions, and you might have to hold them just a little bit and communicate. So my message really is, if you note that you have a reaction coming up in your body over the next few weeks with everything going on, don't avoid it, but just go, hey, I need to just acknowledge it right now. You're really triggering me right now. I feel my emotions coming up, so I need to take a breath. Or even just going within and going, what is this person trying to say? And I see so much picking apart of verbiage right now. It's not saying that we're oversensitive about any of these particular topics. It's saying that we're all in a state of trauma. We're in a state of trauma. We're up here and we're sensitive, and we are like a nerve. We're like a nerve ending. And so to recognize that and go slow with self, to go slow with those in our lives, to have the conversations, get into the rough points, and breathe and recognize when it's time to maybe step away from the table for a minute. Because there are those times when we gotta go, okay, we're gonna take a break here. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna separate. We're gonna breathe. And then at the same time recognizing, like, yeah, I might be angry about something. I might be angry. I might be upset. And knowing that you don't necessarily have to change your opinion. Just because you sit at the table and hear somebody else's thoughts doesn't mean that you have to change your opinion. It means that you're just expanding your mind. It's meaning that you're looking at a different viewpoint. But I promise you that if we don't go in to these situations, we will stay this oversensitized clit. We will stay snapping. We will never get to a place of peace and pleasure, because we're wanting the pleasure. We're wanting the pleasure of our society. I believe most people want unity and love and compassion. But this only happens if we can work through these wounding. And some of this wounding is so incredibly old that we have to work through. So it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to be hard. And we have to communicate. And communication is not just our verbalization. Communication is also really listening, and I mean active listening, because sitting back and really going, oh, a beautiful butterfly just flew by. Sorry, squirrel moment. But sitting and really listening, sitting and really actively listening and going, what is this person trying to say? Maybe they're not using the right words. Maybe I have a reaction because of their color, their age, their political viewpoint. Maybe I have this reaction, but can I hold this reaction and truly try to listen to the words coming out of their mouth, or the energy coming from them? So yeah, I believe we have more support than we think. And right now, this is my bias, I think that there's a lot of systems and people trying to pull us apart, when we can find the pleasure point much better if we work together. Because most people are not actively trying to traumatize us. Most people are not the perpetrators. Most people are that partner who's sitting there trying to help us get through that pain, that trauma, to de-thaw our clits. The clits being us, the clits being our wounding. So just Just some random thoughts. Hopefully it gets you thinking today. Hopefully it gets you thinking. And just entering conversations over the next few weeks and probably even months with a little bit of understanding that everybody is oversensitive right now. We've all been impacted by what's going on in the world. Every single person has been impacted in some form or fashion. Just enter conversations, especially conversations around race, politics, or health right now, which is a big piece of our lives. Finances too. All a big piece of our lives. To enter those conversations knowing that there is wounding and there is trauma, and to not go slow as far as not talking about things, but to go slow in terms of jumping on each other. To just sit there and go, am I reacting? Am I listening? If that is all you do, I promise you will make change, you will move forward, and we can start to heal. We can start to heal. But that's up to you. It's up to you. So, all right. I am off to go hang out with some fun kids and go beach for a little while and enjoy my day. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I still have a couple spots open for my summer VIP clients. I also have a shit ton of workshops that I just put out. I don't want to go into marketing mode, but you can go check it out at addisonbell.net or recoveredalife.com. Either of those links work. So go recover your life. Let's go recover our lives together and expand and love and have compassion for each other. So, all right, guys, I will see you tomorrow for another Addison Unleashed. Love y'all.